A woman from Maine wrote her own obituary. What it predicted came true. In the fall of 2018, a woman in Portland, Maine, sat down at her kitchen table and wrote her own obituary. She was not sick. She was not old. She was 43 years old, in perfect health, with no reason to believe she was going to die anytime soon. But she wrote it anyway. She wrote about her childhood, her career, her love of the ocean and her dog, and her small garden in the backyard. She wrote about her family, her friends. She wrote about the kind of funeral she wanted, the music, the flowers, the readings. And then, at the very end of the obituary, she wrote something strange. Something that made the newspaper editor call her twice to confirm she was serious. She wrote the date of her death. Not an approximate date, not a year. A specific day. November 12th, 2018. She submitted the obituary to the local paper in October. She paid the fee. She gave them a photograph. She told them to hold it on file until it was needed. The editor assumed the woman was terminally ill and had not disclosed it. He filed the obituary away and did not think about it again. Until November 13. On November 13, the editor received a phone call from the woman's sister. She told him that her sister had died the previous day. November 12. Exactly the date written in the obituary. The editor was shaken. He pulled the file. He read the obituary again, and he realized something that made his hands tremble. The obituary did not just predict the date of death. It predicted the cause. The woman had written that she died in her sleep, peacefully, at home, no pain, no struggle. She described it as if it had already happened, and when the autopsy was performed, the coroner could find no cause of death, no heart attack, no stroke, no aneurysm, no signs of foul play, no drugs, no alcohol. The woman had simply gone to bed on November 11 and never woken up. Her death remains medically unexplained. This is the story of a woman who knew she was going to die. Not in a vague, intuitive way. Not in the way that some people say they have a bad feeling. She knew the date. She knew the manner. She knew details that no one could possibly know. And she was not the only one. In the weeks after her death, her family began to piece together a series of events that they had dismissed at the time. Strange behaviors, unusual statements, a pattern that suggested the woman had been preparing for something for months. She had updated her will 6 months before she died. She had written letters to each of her family members, sealed them in envelopes, and placed them in a box in her closet with instructions to open them after her passing. She had organized her finances. She had cleaned out her attic and donated most of her belongings. She had adopted out her dog to a close friend, saying she would not be able to care for him much longer. Her sister had asked her if she was okay. The woman had smiled and said she was fine. She said she just wanted to be ready. Ready for what? The sister asked. Ready for what comes next, the woman replied. The family initially believed she had been hiding a terminal illness, perhaps a cancer diagnosis she had chosen to keep private. But her medical records showed nothing. She had visited her doctor 3 weeks before her death for a routine checkup. Her blood work was normal. Her vitals were normal. The doctor had written in his notes that she was in excellent health and showed no signs of any physical or mental illness. So how did she know? The family began researching. They found that their ancestor, the woman's great-grandmother, had reportedly done the same thing. In 1942, she had told her family the exact date of her death, 3 months in advance. They had dismissed it as superstition. She had died on that exact date. The family had always treated it as a strange coincidence, a story told at reunions, nothing more. But now it had happened twice in the same bloodline. Then the letters were opened. Each family member received a handwritten letter. Each letter was personal, specific. It mentioned memories that only that person would know. It offered comfort. It offered closure. It said goodbye. But one letter was different. The letter addressed to her younger brother contained something that did not make sense. At the bottom of the letter, after the signature, the woman had written a short postscript. It read, "I know you will find the box under the floorboards in the attic. It is okay. I am not angry. I forgave you a long time ago. Do not be afraid." The brother read the postscript and went pale. He went to the attic alone. He pulled up the floorboards in the corner that the letter had described. And there, buried in the insulation, was a small wooden box. Inside the box were items that had belonged to the woman. Jewelry, a watch, several $100s in cash, items that had gone missing years ago, items that the woman had accused her brother of stealing. He had denied it. The family had believed him. The items were never found. The accusation had created a rift between them that never fully healed. But the letter showed that the woman had known the truth all along. She had known where the items were. She had known her brother had taken them. And she had forgiven him. How did she know about the box under the floorboards? The brother had hidden it there himself, 20 years earlier. He had never told anyone. He had never gone back to check on it. He had assumed the items were lost forever. But his sister had known. She had known the exact location. She had known for 20 years. And she had chosen to reveal it only after her death. The brother broke down. He confessed everything to the family. The theft, the lies, the years of guilt. The obituary had not just predicted a death, it had uncovered a secret. But the most disturbing question remained unanswered. How did the woman know the date of her own death? Some researchers who studied the case suggested the possibility of unconscious self-fulfillment. The woman believed she would die on November 12, so her body simply shut down on that date. The power of belief made physical, the mind commanding the body to stop. But that does not explain the medical findings. Healthy hearts do not stop without cause. Healthy brains do not simply cease functioning. The coroner should have found something. Anything. He found nothing. Another theory comes from the field of near-death studies. Some researchers believe that certain individuals, particularly those with a family history of precognitive experiences, can occasionally glimpse their own timeline. They see the moment of their death not as a possibility, but as a fixed point, an appointment they cannot miss. But that theory does not explain the letters, the detailed knowledge of the hidden box, the precise predictions that went far beyond a date on a calendar. The family has chosen to keep most of the letters private. They have not released the obituary in full. They have not allowed the media to publish the woman's name. They say she was a private person and would not have wanted the attention. But the story leaked anyway. It always does. Because we are fascinated by the idea that some people might know when their time is up. That death might not be a random accident, but a scheduled event. That somewhere, in some hidden corner of human consciousness, a clock is ticking down to zero. And when it reaches zero, you go. The woman from Maine heard her clock. She saw the date. She made her preparations. She wrote her goodbye. And then, on November 12, 2018, she went to sleep and did not wake up. Exactly as she said she would. Would you want to know your date? If you could sit down at your kitchen table right now and write your own obituary with perfect accuracy, Would you do it? Think carefully, because the woman from Maine knew, and knowing did not save her. Sleep well.